granted we had opportunity to welcome at our university one of the biggest stars from Vienna architecture scene, or at least my really favorite office, because they work is completely unusual, so it has lots of fun in it. You may really see from the organizations, from the projects, the spirit of the office, and really joy of the users, and I guess really welcome. And as Professor Šlapita every time says, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So, good evening. Maybe it's a little bit loud. Everybody slept well, because this will last for a long time. I think it's 1.5 hours. We have a lot of projects the last 15 years, and so many favorite projects, so I didn't know which one I should delete. I hope it will be enjoying and fun for you. So, BKK-3. Okay, so again, means building collective artist. So that means that we are not only technician, we are also artists as an architect, and so we are trying to focus on things which are not only for function and only for technical reasons. What you can see behind is an overview of projects that we have done in the last years. We have done a lot of housing projects, but also some offices. 2 years ago, we went to Hamburg, and there's also an office now which we are collaborating. It's BKK-3 NJN, and this project here is in Hamburg, and it will be realized in between the next 2 years. So what is BKK-3? BKK-3 is about that we are building for people. We have 3 sentences. One is building for people, we are building for users, and we are building for the city. And that's our philosophy behind our project. That's the best way to show you in some small sentence the philosophy that we are working on. So, wohnst du noch oder lebst du schon? This is from IKEA, and it means, are you, in English we don't have word for wohnen und leben, because it's always live. And so in Austria and in German we have 2 words for them, and it means the difference in between that if you're only living on your flat or you're living in the city. And that's the point behind IKEA. And what we are talking now about is to live in participation, to live in community, in communication with other peoples. So it's about community. So if you like to do or to develop any project, you have to, you need a place, you need an idea, and you need a money. These are the 3 points. If one of them is missing, you cannot start with your work. And mostly when the clients came to us, we have a place, we should develop the idea, and the money is then from the client. So this is the triangle which we're working on. And the Miss Sargfabrik, this is our, should I say, famous project in the last 15 years. It's a participation process, a project which we developed with up to 100 people together. So what is the situation now in Vienna? As in many cities, we have rising costs for the sites, so it's very expensive to buy a site now. That means that the living cost and the renting cost are getting higher and higher every year. We are facing the topic of energy consumption of building overall. We have in the European Union a new regulation that by 2020 we need to have not passive house, zero energy house, So that will be a big impact on our work, on your work also. We have a problem with the demography. We have a lot of old people in 10 or 20 years. I think there will be 50% older than 60 years. So that will change the whole society. We are facing with problem with loneliness. The people are living in the flats and don't have any connection to the neighbor. That leads to separation, and then at the end to less solidarity. That's the problems that we are facing, and we like to solve these problems with a content, and the content is then about urbanity. We have to think about architecture not in a way just about a house. It's clear that we have to see the whole system of the city, the urban system, and that's what we're meaning with urbanity. It's clear that Vienna has now about 1.8 millions, and in I think 10 years we will be more than 2 millions. So we are facing a lot of people more in our city, and the city cannot expand for the next 100 years. So we have to think about more density, and if you have more density, you have to think about, well, it's my opinion, to think about diversity. Because when all the people are getting more narrow, it should be not a monofunctional culture. So diversity is one of the content that we are working on. The next is then community. We try to build up new tribes in the city, bringing the people together, not with the sledgehammer, but with good spaces where the people can pass by and meet each other. We like to have a signature in between the function that we have. I will show you then some examples for the signature, which could be very interesting. And at the last point is the planning process, because it's depending also on the process itself. Do you have joy when you are making drafts, or when you're working with people, or is it not a joy? So can the people or the user, the future user, can they influence the project or not? So that's the point of the planning process, and it's also a very important point for us. So in the Miss Sackfabrik, or the Sackfabrik project, how did it work? The strategy was to collect people, to ask people, do you like to do a project together? And soon we found about 50 persons who were able to expand with us. At the end we are now 220. We decided then to do our own project, and to do this was then to found a cooperative. You know, cooperative can be, the most of the cooperatives are old, they are maybe 100 years old, and we decided to do our own cooperative, because only with our cooperative it's possible to go one step further than everybody else. So we are working with a system, we are working with a building construction system, we are working with subsidy system, we are working with the system of site costs or everything. So when you are starting with the architecture, you have to ride this wave, the wave of all the possibilities that you have, and that could be quite big impact. So when you're starting then such a project, which is a participation project, you have to think about the business plan. Is it possible to do it or not? Because we were our own developer. We are not only architects, we are then developer, user, architect, and with all the people together, we have a responsibility for their life and also for our life, because there are a lot of liabilities in this project. So when you're planning something for yourself, then it's easy to think about the running cost. Usually you're doing a plan for somebody else, and the client says, okay, it's too expensive to think of the running cost. But at the end, after 5 or 10 years, it's much more cheaper to do low running costs and to give out a little bit more money in the construction process. And at last, we did our own facility management. So we have everything in our hand, the planning process, the realization process, and then the running process. So this is our small group. It's the cooperative. There are some people, one of 220, and yeah, they are completely normal people. And together with them, we developed the whole Sackfabriks, both stages. What else is interesting? We have a professional team. The professional team means that our association have assembly of members, and the members are deciding everything. That's the point. We have then a board of directors, and these directors are running the association. But one time per year, they have to tell us, the members, what they have done, and then we say, okay, it's fine, and next year it starts a new process. So then we have a professional team for the facility management and property management. Everything from housekeeping, cleaning is in our hand, and so it's not so far away. When somebody has any problem, he will come to us, and we will solve the problem. So then, very important, we have voluntary groups. There are assistants for all the other things. For example, we have a group for the library. We have a group for the Badehaus. We have a group for the gardens. I think we have about 15 groups. So everybody who is interested in one of the topic which is connected to association can say, okay, I like to do something in a voluntary group. And they are also doing then the parties, workshops, excursions, charity events, and so on. That's what we are doing then together. So how did it start? This was 1988. The first part of the Sackfabrik. You know what is a Sackfabrik? It's a coffin factory. In the World War I and World War II, we had a lot of coffin to produce in Austria. Austria was a big country at that with 100 million inhabitants, and in World War I think there were about 20 million dead, and so this was quite a good business to run as a coffin factory. And it was here in the Sackfabrik. They produced 50 million coffins in 100 years, which is quite a big amount. So we bought this site, and it was like this. And then we started the planning process, and the planning process lasted for 5 years. And after 5 years, our neighbor was coming, and he was not in favor with our ideas. And then we have to throw away all our plans. And in between this time, in between these 5 years, everything fell down, was demolished by the nature or by water. So we decided then to demolish not the whole building, but let's say 75 or 80% of the building. This was, for example, the turbines, and there's the chimney. The chimney is the only thing that we like to go on with it, and so it's now also included. Here is the first part of the Sackfabrik. You can see it here, and this is the second part. This is the Sackfabrik, and this is the Miss Sackfabrik, because it's in the Missendorfstraße, that's the address, and it's also clear that it's the daughter of the first Sackfabrik. So altogether, we have spent about 80 million euros. We have about 110 flats, and the inhabitants, the tenants, are about 220 people. So we are quite big group, and that leads also to some advantages if you like something from the city, or if you like to do something or to buy something. So what you can see here is the old Sargfabrik. The first part, it was 1996, it was finished. And here you can see here all these flats are maisonettes. They're about 2 stories. And the next level is then here. And here this is also, they're like single houses or row houses which are sitting above. And then this is a bridge which is leading to the other part of the Sargfabrik. So you can see here, this is a picture. Please remember, I think this was in the first year when we moved in. I will show you the pictures after 10 years, how it changed and why it's changed. You can see here in the back side, this is the chimney, which is the last old remaining thing what we have there. So this is the Miss Sargfabrik. This is the second part. It was started in 1998 and finished in 2000. So we have only 2 years for the whole planning process with 50 people together. And so we learned a lot about this planning process in the first part, to do it so in such a way in this second part here. So what is interesting when you're looking here at this section? It looks quite simple, but you can see here a sloping floor and also here a sloping floor. And that was the idea when we spoke with the people from the old Sargfabrik. They told that the maisonette is so high, it's about 5 meters. There's a big void inside, 50% is a big void. And they told us, yeah, that's not social, let's do something which is more compressed. And so we thought it would be a good idea to compress it here with 70 centimeters and to higher this up. And so we have here 3.20 meters and 2.26 meters in the backside, the same as in the old Sargfabrik. So we compressed the box that we had before, and that leads to this sloping floor. So when we went to the authority and asking them, we have now a project with 1/3 of the area is a sloping floor. He took the telephone, was calling his chief and asked his chief, there are the BKK, these crazy architects which did the Sargfabrik, they are coming with an idea to do 1/3 sloping and more than 10%, it's about 25%. What should I do? And the chief said to him, is there something in opposite to the regulations? And he was thinking about half an hour, but he didn't find anything. So then it's allowed, if we don't have opposite of a regulation, it's allowed. So then we ask the people which we are working together, are you in favor with this idea? Do you like a sloping floor? Because this is really crazy. And at the end, it was so that all the 5 flats, which were on this level here, this here, were rented out first. So the people like it so much, they like to have this experiment, and that's also the unusual path of development. If you can talk to the people and ask them, do you like it? You have more opportunities, and the opportunities are done then. The decision is a decision which we made together. That's the point. And then we did it also here because everybody was happy with the last floor. It could be happen here also. And so that's what was the way to come to such a crazy idea into realization together with the people. Then we had this idea not to make this dividing walls straight. One of them we broke, so you have 2 atmospheres. The one atmosphere, like here, is a big void in the middle, or big room in the middle, And here you have a space here and a space behind. You can see here you have 3 meters of glass wall, and here you have 6 meters. So they are completely different. When you're sitting inside, they are completely different. And it's like if you have Kochtopfdeckel, you know it. you will ever find somebody who likes this. So that was so funny that at the end everybody was loving this part or this part. So that's what I like to say to you. Diversity is good for all the people. So together with the sloping walls and sloping broken wall and sloping floors, it was a 3-dimensional thing which we could not describe to them. So, but first of all, another thing, because because the client, our client, the association, our association, likes to have some flats which are very small. And the first which we did was this one here, 50 square meter, single room, loft. Then here, for example, 50 square meter, 2 rooms. Here's one room divided and the rest is open. And here is also two rooms flat, and here we have a 3 room. So 50 square meter and 3 rooms. Who likes to have something like this? We know it because we got so many inquiries from ladies and single moms because they like to have a cheap flat, but they like to separate from their child, and it's possible with here. So the overall rent is about 300 or 320 euros for this, and especially single moms don't have so much money. So they came to us like hell. So we decided to make an advertising in the Falter, which is the Viennese event magazine, and we gave advertising hinein. Miss is searching or is seeking for men because we have too many women. So that was the next funny part that we have when we developed this project. So when you're thinking about all these sloping floors and walls together, you can see here the overall section, the 3-dimensional, but here you can see how it was the impact on the flat, on the room itself. And it was not so easy to talk with people who never had a study of architecture. When we talked to them, how it was very, it was not so easy to tell them how it will work. So we built up models, models that they can look into it, and we have to decide also the floor planning with them. So here you can see maybe one of the flats. It's now our flat because we are using it for the office. We got it 1 year ago. But here you can see this floor, which is 25% sloping, and behind you have the other story, which is only 226. So you have in one room the room height of modern building and also the old building, which is in Vienna about 220. We talked with everybody about every flat. So there were about 40 flats, and we have 3 meetings. So we have 120 meetings for this project, and every meeting, let's say, in between 1, 2, and 3 hours. So it's quite a lot of work and quite a lot of discussion together with all the people until we came to the end that this is a project which is fitting for every user. So every single flat is diverse. We don't have any flat which is the same as any other. And everybody is proud of his own flat, and that's what I always think about diversity. makes you maybe a little bit more broad about your space and your area where you're living. So here, for example, you can see the sloping floor is with parquet, but we also have sometimes terraces. We have in the planning process, we had a lot of ideas from the tenants to use this area. This is a flat which is in the upper floor, in the roof. She was very open to architectural ideas, and so we built a lot of models for her. And she liked to live like on a, let's say, on a ship. And what you can see here is then everything is done with the Trockenbau, with gypsum plates, and yeah, it's quite interesting flat. This flat is then is the one which goes to the Missendorfstraße directly. So you can see here this big space and the big window, and here you can see the principle of this maisonette, which is up here about 70 centimeters, and down here from the ceiling to this part also 75 centimeters. So on the outside, we thought all these flats are now like a landscape, and we could do also landscape on the inside. And the special topic here is we are under the earth. You can see here the flat, which is about 2 meters under the earth, and how can I go there? So we were thinking about a landscape which you can go down. This is the part for the handicapped people. They took this way. This is 10%. This is also 10%. And here is the lift which is leading them up. This is maybe also interesting because this is a bridge. It's a kind of shortcut, because first we had a development situation which goes around the complete corner. So everybody who is living in the last flat has to go by in this part here. So then we had this idea of making a bridge which dividing the people, so 5 flats are going there and 5 flats are going there. And that leads to this hole, which is in the middle, and this hole was then the side pass, and at the end we have this idea to make all the water drops falling into this pond here, and our worker will do exactly, because these things here are completely above each other. And now we have the problem that the water drops from up there going directly on this point, and you have then big fountain of water in every story. So this is the part of the living units, but behind the living units we try to settle up a new life situation or a lifestyle situation with common rooms. We have here a lot of common rooms which are for the people, like the common kitchen, a library, a teenager club, playgrounds, and a laundry. The laundry is a very good common room because the people are attracted by the laundry, and so we put the laundry right in the best stuff, right in the second floor. So it's not a common room which is down in the cellar. Most of the common rooms are up in the best location. But we have one which is in the cellar. This is the club room, and you can see here this is red painted. We've also bar designed and integrated. So you can go there, you bring your beer, you have here water and a refrigerator, and you can start a party. And a lot of people, teenager and inhabitants and not inhabitants, were celebrating here the last 15 years. So when we're going up into the best location, there's the laundry, and the laundry is also has a design. Yeah? Normally you're just putting the washing machine there, but we are thinking about a story, and the story was when when you're washing your clothes, you're going first there, put it in, then you can go up into the library to sit down and to watch the newspaper, and behind or above the laundry is the common kitchen, and there you can go for a coffee, a cup of tea, or what else. So this was the story behind all these sloping ways which are going up. So here we have now 27%. It's not allowed in Austria, and I think in Czech also. So we have this idea, what can we do with that? So we say this is a sculpture. It's a sculpture, it's a mountain sculpture because it's so steep, and we brought this into our plans, and then our authority was sitting there, what does it mean, a sculpture? And they didn't find something to forbid it, and so we have it now. A lot of children are using this ramp for sloping down and running down, and fortunately nothing happens the last 15 years. But this is the internal shortcut in between library, and all the facilities or all the functions are seen together. They are divided by the wall, so you cannot smell, of course, the laundry, you cannot smell the kitchen, but you can see everything. So here, for example, you are sitting at the table of the kitchen and looking just into the library. There we have something to sit down. And today it's completely filled up with books. And the books are a psychogram of all the people who are living there, because the books are from our tenants. Also, I brought, I think, 100 books there, because I don't need it. It makes more space in my flat. And at one day, maybe in 20 years' times, I can lend it back from my own library. So that's what's behind all these common rooms. It has an impact on the layout of the floor plans and of the flats, because if you have a big kitchen for 30 people like here, and you have a library and you have a common laundry, you don't need so much space in your own flat. You can shrink your kitchen. You don't need a place for the washing machine and so on. And if you have only 50 square meters and you're gaining 2 or 3 square meters by these facilities, then it's a quite big step. You have here dishes behind for 30 people. You have everything there. This is a 90 centimeter wide oven. You can put in two turkeys, yeah, for example, and you can really cook for 30 people. That's the point. So we also have business areas to run, and this business area, of course, they're costing something. So we are acting as a company. Our company has about 4 million euros each per year. That's the sum of income, and all of us has a little bit of liability for that. So we are interested to run the system good. You can see here we have a kindergarten, we have a seminar room which is about 200 square meter, we have a restaurant with 300 square meter, we have an event hall for up to 500 people, so that's really a big program which we can run there. We have a swimming hall with 300 meters, there's a playground, and up there's a roof garden, which is one of the interesting common rooms that we have. So, but let's see what it's in detail. This is the restaurant. It's the restaurant Sargfabrik, and you can eat there or drink there. It's a bar, a restaurant, and for some small dishes also. So this is in the night time. Not a good picture, but yeah. This is one look into the seminar room, which can be divided in the middle. This is the entrance then, which is a much more public area than the other parts of the Sargfabrik. Yeah, and here is the Schwimmhalle, the swimming hall. The swimming hall is open to 500 people, which are club members. So we don't have the money to have a professional team there. So we say to all of our clients or our club members, you have to be one director of the swimming hall, you understand? So we don't have a director, we have 500 of them. And if somebody has to be rescued, everybody can do this. So we don't need overall overview of this part. So you can go in, you get a key, you can go in for 24 hours, and you have to pay monthly or yearly. It's not so bad. I think it's about per year 200 euros about, and then you can go there 24 hours. 6 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Depends on you. So we have inside a swimming pool with warm water. This is a tepidarium, which is about 70 grad Celsius hot room. This is a cold water. Back in this is a Japanese fountain, and somewhere. Okay, no, sorry, I don't have the picture of our swimming pool, which is then 12 meters long. So the next thing is then the event hall. The event hall is run by a professional group. We have about 20 to 25 events per month. So we have events, let's say, every second day or every day, which is quite a lot. Usually you have 10 events per month. And this is run by a manager, a cultural manager. He brings all the bands and all the people to us, and you have to pay for that. But we are also getting subsidy from the city of Vienna, like every event hall in Vienna. You can see here we have 160 kilowatt of electrical power. So I have to say, maybe this was our first project that we did, which was more than 4 flats. And we have a swimming hall, the event hall with a kindergarten and 70 flats, which was quite a big challenge for us to do this for the first time, 1996. So the green rooms, the green area is an important thing, because here you can play communication, and this is in the Miss Sargfabrik, looking from the balconies down. Our office here is here, and this big, under this big umbrella, our office is drawing the next project. You can see here, somebody sitting there. So this was a picture on a Sunday morning, I think 10 o'clock in the morning. So the people have a very strong connection to each other, and the people are sitting, these are 2 neighbors which are sitting together and eating their breakfast. Yeah, this is one of the flat which is in the old Sargfabrik. You can see here the height. The height goes up to 5 meters. It looks very luxury, yeah? And this was then the decision to compress this box more in the Sargfabrik, which was then the next project. So when we are going up on the roof garden, we have a lot of special situation there. For example, this is the sun terrace. You can lay down, you have a wind protection here, this part. We have about 20 fields, small fields, let's say 20 acres. Or, it's only 2 meters by 1 meter for everybody, but yeah, you can see the people are liking that very much, so they can do their own plants there, they can grow their own plants there. Yeah, you can see here, this is a zucchini. Zucchini with 5 kilo, I think. So, but we have other parts in this green area too, which are more for recreation. For example, here is the fireplace, so here you can grill. It's covered with stones, that it's not burned. And that's a picture from above how it's today. It's completely filled up with the green area, with big trees. They're about 6 meters high and on 30 centimeters of earth, not more. Yeah. Yeah, after, you know what means Feierabend? It's a kind of celebration every day when you're going from the work. So we had our first celebration on the 1st of November, which is a very special date. And in Mexico, they are celebrating at the graveyards with the people which are dead. And that was our idea that we have when we are making a celebration of 1st of November. So this is one of the old coffins that we have found in our Sargfabrik. We have it today, and there was a big event with musicians from all over, and that was like, what's it gonna look like in the Mexican style to celebrate the first day of the Sargfabrik. So what are the principles to make a summary? We have to do bottom-up decision making because everybody can join the process of the planning. We have responsibility. Everybody has the responsibility for the whole also when he makes decisions. We have voluntary rules, so we do not force somebody to do something. They are all doing it on a voluntary base. And we have a cooperative property, so that's not the ownership of somebody, it's the ownership of the whole cooperative. That's one of the principles. So then the apartments, they allow inside, and where neighbors are welcome, so we are like a little village. Yeah? Private activities can access also on the balconies. And when you're going today to the Sargfabrik, you will see there are a lot of plants on the balconies on every side, on both sides. So it's completely green area in the summertime. And that's always an indicator of that people are feeling well there because they are occupying the space. So then the interest in between public and private should be balanced. That's what I mean with responsibility for the whole. So we have the highest standard of thermal insulation at that time. Today we would do more, but at that time it was the best. We have a district heating system, so we are not using any gas or something else. We are using the back loop of the district heating, which is lower than normally. It's only have 70 degrees or 80 degrees. So we have eco-friendly electricity from Ökostrom. We have solar panels on the rooftop, which have a coverage of about 80% in summertime. So we don't need any additional heating system. We have a composting system inside our own, and we have many bikes and few cars. So I think we are very sustainability, and we are giving back also something to the city with our public common rooms, and that's what we think is good when we're getting a subsidy from the city. We like to give it in another way back. So we like to integrate a lot of people and spheres. We are open to refugees, we are open to every part of the society, but today we are of course closed because we cannot expand anymore. We cannot do a skyscraper, unfortunately, because we have a lot of inquiry, but we don't found a place to expand. So and we like to integrate this separate concepts of participation, planning, and avant-garde aesthetic. This is nothing which can be run, that can be merged together. So we're coming back to social housing again, but I would like to introduce a small single family house for a friend of mine. When you're planning for a friend, it always means you have a lot of responsibility, and most of the friendships ends after the planning process. I don't know why, but it is so. In this part, it is my friend also. Now we didn't separate, and what he told us, he bought this little site in Baden, which is very small, only 12 meters wide. And when we asked him, what do you like most, or what do you need most for your living, or what idea do you have, then he told us he liked to go through this house into the garden with all kind of herbs and playgrounds and whatever. So we decided to give him a way which is only 2 meters in the house, so he can transport his material through it, and at the end it leads to 2 separate buildings, the one on the right and the one on the left side. You can see here in the section, it's a building which is only 2 stories high, with a 35 roof, and here with a sloping roof which is only, I think, 15. So that's how it's gonna look like now. We have to deal this project with the heritage center of Baden. Baden is a very old city, and they're quite interesting that every architecture which is modern it has its problem. Yeah? So we decided to work together with the heritage center, and the heritage was in favor with this draft, because it's a new form of an old fiacre house. Fiacre is a horse. So the old houses has, on one side there were the people living, on the other side there were the horses. And so here in this, where the horses are, is the garage. Yeah, so that's the new house, and most of the sleeping rooms are here in this side. So they were very in favor with this idea, because we have found an old structure which was in the city within before. So this is the way then through. It's a small, narrow way which leads to the door. And on the other side, you're coming out here. So you have on the left the living room, up there are the sleeping rooms. This is a room for the parents, and up there is the sleeping room from the owners. It has about, I think, 240 square meters is the overall area. And on the inside, the lady of the house told us she liked to have something where she can oversee everything which is happen on the street, which is happen in the house, and which is happen in the garden. So when she's here in the kitchen, she can see on 3 sides everything what's happened. So we fulfilled her wishes that she had. So in the upper floor, they didn't have any wish for this thing, what you can see here. But at the end, we were using this as a library. Now there are the books inside, and it's the in-between connection between the 2 parts of the building. So this is the way looking right to the street. On the left, you can see the bathroom, which is into this courtyard, this inner courtyard. And so they have a lot of light and a lot of sight and transparency when you're coming up into the 2nd story of this building. So that's the front. Also funny story, when we built this up, the neighbors were coming to us and they were asking us what what are we doing here? This cannot be a house, or what is this? Yeah? And then I told him this is for a family. And then the neighbors said, "Oh, okay, now I understand." So when they got divorced, the one will get this part and the other one will get this part. So people have so pragmatic ideas. So let's go to the Vorgartenstraße. The Vorgartenstraße was finished in 2012, so it's quite a new project. And the aims that we have there was to have a cheap rent. It was a competition. It's called Bauträger competition in Vienna. So you go in with one association or with a cooperative into the planning process, and then you're presenting this to the city. And the city have a jury and will judge the best project. We have won this because we have a lot of quality. But our aims was as first the cheap rent, but not with a low quality. We would like to hold the quality. We like to compress everything. Yeah, I will show you that within the next minutes. But on the other hand, if you're compressing something, you need green areas and you need free rooms behind. So we should focus on young people. That was the city told us. They like to have starting flats, which should be cheaper than other. Our aim was also to focus on community and common rooms, and then for the young people we have a special place. This is a student's home with 200 flats there, which I will show you then. So you can see here the overview. These are the student homes, which are down, and up there are the living rooms and or the living areas. You can see they are quite different because it's a very complex system of flats. All the flats have sun or have orientation to the south. Most of them are going through, they stick through the whole block, and yeah, they have a big area in front of it. So our idea was when, or the average size of a free room flat is in Austria about 75 to 80 square meter. So we thought about the only way to lower the rent is to compress the floor plan, to compress all the function, and that leads to this flat, which is now 66 square meter, and that's maybe 15 square meter or no 10 square meter less than normal, and that means you have less running cost, you have less rents, and so I wrote down what you have to pay. The Brutto-Kaltmiete, that means that's completely the overall rent with all the running costs together, but not with heating system, is 485 euro for a free rooms flat. You have to pay Eigenmittel 36,000 euros. You will get it back when you're moving out. That's quite a lot. But you can also, das nennt sich gestundet, then you have to pay less, and you have to pay it later on. So 66, we know from the Sargfabrik that you can do something with 50 square meter also. You can do a free-story or free room flat with under 50, and there are a lot of people who like it. So we decided to do this again, like in the Sargfabrik. So here we have 42 square meter for a flat which has 2 rooms, completely normal rooms. This is for the children, this is for the parents or for the single mom. Yeah? And here you have kitchen and living together, which is not so big, of course. But you can see here, this area is up to 3 meters. And that's quite a lot in your which is in direct connection with your flat. And you're paying for that for 340 euros. And of course, Austria has also some poor people, yeah, and they need it. So first of all these flats were rented out in 1 day or 2 days. So there's a need for this special situation also. So and then we have to do the Startwohnung, Start living unit, which is for students or for people when they're young, they don't have so much money. So this is then only 32 square meter, and the meter is only 220 euros. So this is comparable maybe a little bit to the student's home. Or it's less than a student's home, but in student's home you have a cleaning lady, you have internet, you have all the big kitchens and so on. So additionally to these flats, we decided to make some working space that we called so. The working space is just in the opposite of the flat. So what you can see here, the gray area is the entrance to the flat. And on the opposite side, you will find these two working spaces. You can use this for your hobby. You can use this for as your office. You can use it for your teenager to put the teenager away 2 meters. And the teenie can come for eating, but they have their own single unit, which is directly to the parents. But yeah, sometimes it's better. So yeah, you can use it for everything what you like. Yeah, it's additional. You can rent it to your flat additionally. They were all rented out immediately. We have about two of these per floor, and then one floor we have 8 flats. So for 8 flats we have 2 additional rooms, and they are very cheap. It's about 100 euro. Of course they are very small, and you can see here this is the bath facility, and the rest is just an open space. So you have a toilet, you have a douche, and you have a washing facility, and that's enough to put your teenie there. So how it's going to look like on the outside? We like the whole building is 120 meters long, 128 exactly. So it's divided in a building which is standing alone, and this one which is running by the street for 120 meters. So we're thinking about how can we do a sculpture out of the facade, and this leads then to this balcony, form of balcony, which is coming out and going in. So here you have 3 meter, there you have 1.50 meters. So it depends which flat you will get. It depends how deep is your free room. Up to the 4th story is the student's home. So you can see here on this side where it's a little bit wider, we have the common kitchen. I will show you a picture there. We've worked together with Karin Standler, Dr. Karin Standler. She has done the green, the landscape plan, and which is in a real good quality. Also this time, after 3 years, it's getting better and better. This is the south elevation from the part which is standing alone. You can see here there are a lot of different balconies. So each flat has 1 3 meter part. That's why it's so the sculpture is so moving. So in the inside, it works like this. You are coming up from a middle gang, middle corridor. You're going down, and here you have a stick-through flat with about 66 square meter. So there is the living room, and behind, which you cannot see now, are the sleeping rooms, which I'll show you in the 3D animation. that's the thing when you're looking down the stairways. So here we have about 5 meters, which is also a little bit of good void, good volume in the flat. And that's then at the balcony. Nowadays we have big trees there. This is also a very nice photo where you can see the shape of the form and the shape of the landscape. So here is the sand. There is a hill which is 3 meters high, and you have to think about it that behind or under this earth there is the garage. And when you're putting 3 meters or 4 meters of earth above, then you have to do something in the garage, because it's really quite a lot of tonnage of earth. Yeah. So now we're coming to the student's home. This is the entrance. The entrance for a student home can be a little bit better, a little bit beautifuler, a little bit fashionable. So we decided to do this 2 stories high when you go in, and then on the inside it goes down to the normal height. So we could spend a little bit more money than normally in this space, but we have to fight, for example, for these lights. They cost about 10,000 euros, and we have to go to everybody to talk about this 10,000 euros, and the whole project was 22 millions. And after 1 month of lying on our knees, we got it. So then we had this idea: what can we do with the people to sit down? And we have this idea to copy our column and to put it down on the earth. This is out of metal, because it's not possible to do anything which is flammable. It's a question of fire protection. And so we did it in the same way as the column, the place to sit down. Here is the lobby, or the housekeeper is inside there. And that's, I think it's the Visitenkarte of the building. When you come in, you should see the philosophy of the house. So, how it's going to look like then above in the student home. We have a big modern kitchen everywhere. They are very open, very transparent. They have a lot of light inside. This is the washing facility. Behind is the kitchen itself. There are the storage rooms of the students. We have done all the interior design. Then when the offers came back, we have 1.5 million of interior design, and our client told us 1 million is the maximum. So we have to decide then how can we spend or save 500,000 euro, and that leads to this black plates, which were much cheaper than the white ones. There's every luxury thing inside. Big flat screen TV. There's I think there are 3 ovens there, more microwaves, and everything what you wish. This is then one of the student home itself, and as you can see here, we saved this plate. We leave it away, and I think it cost about 50,000 euro less, because when you have 200 of them, it lasts a lot. But at the end, I have to say they are very modern. They are quite interesting, and I talked with a lot of the students every time when I have a guided tour there. I ask them how they like it, and they are quite. They found it quite good. So When we're going down to the cellar, there are the common rooms, and we have here about 1,000 square meters of common rooms. So this is really one of the biggest area that we ever built. And it starts with a musician room, bike room. Then here we have the fitness. The fitness is connected to the sauna, and here it's separated, and this is the event hall. So the whole system is run by the student home, but it can be used for the whole people there, also from the people who are living in the flats. So they will get a chip, and with the chip they can go in. They have reserved time for that. They cannot do this the whole day. On the day there are more students there, and in the evening there are other people from the house. So when they're building up a social house, then you have to fulfill the cost regulation, and the maximum for this project is 1,330 euros per square meter. So that's not quite, that's quite cheap, I would say. But we're thinking about how can we act, or what can we do with cheap materials. So this is a gypsum plate, which is hiding the cabin of the sauna. This is a kind of curtain, which costs about 10 euros per meter, so it costs nothing. And what we're investing a lot of time was then into the colors. The poor painter has to do, I think, 10 times different colors, because I was not satisfied with the color. But at the end, it looks together like a sandy atmosphere. So it's in a cheap way. We found a way to make it cheap. The most expensive thing here is this one. It cost about 3,000 euro. So this is really, because it's a special form. So we spend a lot of money for this special form, but at the end you can see it. That's the point where it breaks, where you have the feeling, okay, they have done something luxury. And then we go to the fitness center, which is I think 250 square meter big, and for the students and for the tenants of the house. And this is then the event hall. I would say up to 150, 200 people can sit down there. We have some events there in the last years, okay, and we could also do all the complete overall design of this. So let's go to the next project, which is about smart wonen. Together with the city of Vienna, we developed a program after this project, which is focusing on small flats. So this is the smart program, and our aims in this special case was to make a lot of social diversity, urban porosity, so that you can go through the project and you can pass by also when you're coming from outside. It's a big scale project. It's about 30,000 square meter, so it's possible to do this in the costs which are regulated, and we like to do a landmark building. So what is the smart program? The smart program is now the type A, one room, is maximum 40 square meter, always including lodging. The next two rooms is maximum 55, 3 stories maximum 70 square meter. So if you have a lodger with about 5 square meter or 6 square meter, you have to lower this. So then the maximum of type D is 80 and type E is 100 square meter. So this was when we sit together with the Wohnbaustadtrat, we developed this project, or not this project, this program together. Then the city told the cooperative the maximum Eigenmittel is 60 euros. And that's quite less, yeah, because when we saw it before, it was about 36,000 euros. Now you have to give only 3,000 or 4,000 euros to the cooperative. And the Miete, inklusive Betriebskosten and taxes, is maximum 7.5 euro per square meter. Only if you fulfill this program, you will get subsidy from the city of Vienna. And it's quite hard, yeah, I have to say, but it's possible. We are doing this project under this complete regulation. It's only possible if you have a big scale. So when it's too small, it's not possible to hold this costs. We are doing this together with Rüdiger Leiner. This is our part. Rüdiger Leiner has his part behind ours. So let's go through here. I think that's not so interesting. This is maybe more interesting because this is the social program. We have living units with more people, Wohnungsgemeinschaften. We have an elderly home. We have a cafe. We have a kindergarten also. We have Caritas Stützpunkt, which means for the old people. We have Gewerbe with about 400 or 500 square meters. So we have a lot of social things included into this project. The place is directly on the Sonnengasse, which is now the last project. This is the school from BKK, and all the other things are new but ready and finished now. So when our project is finished, the whole Sonnengasse is ready. Why did we this different heights? The different heights are coming because we like to have more sun into the block. The block is very narrow, and so we have sometimes going up, sometimes we're going down, like here and here. Also, this part here, where I can look through from the west side, gives you more sun into the block. You can see here also the porosity. You can go through. It's open to the public. You can pass this. You have here the seniors home. Here you have Wohngemeinschaften, betreutes Wohnen. There are the kindergarten, the Seniorenhaus is going through the whole area here. This is our part down with a lot of flats and including the Home 2000 and Housing First program. We have now the Caritas, and you can see we have here a lot of shops which are going directly into the Sonnenviertel. So how it's going to look like on the inside? Well, at the end we have a corridor on the inside, and we have flats which are orientated to the courtyard, and we have flats which are orientated to the other side. Because then you can build very deep, and if you're building very deep, you can save money. That's the factor. So now we're coming to the really small units from the SMART program. You can see here, this is a SMART living unit with about 50 square meters, but including the loggia. And also this one is, for example, only 48, including this veranda here. So you can do very special situation also if it's very small. Yeah? You have to think about it. And also this 96 square meter flat is fully usable area. Maybe it's not so wide here, but we have some other proposal also. So you can see here one impact of the smart program is now that your Eigenmittel, what you have to pay to the association, is only 3,000 euro, and the rent is also very, very cheap, so we can go through. So this is what we offer to the people, and that's so cheap because the public subsidy system is subsidizing this project. And also here you can see no flat is about 500 euros. You can see, for example, this 40 square meter, which has a very small room or a sleeping room, which is then connected to the living room. But including this loggia, we have 40 square meter. This is, for example, 43 with a full integrated room. And this one is 66 square meter, also with 2 full rooms and I think enough space on every side. So it's possible to do also some small compressed units. So what else do we have? We have a kind of flexibility. When you look into this flat, which is 49 square meter big, you can use it as a mini loft without any walls. You can divide the wall in the middle, so you have a big room and a big living room. The standard is maybe this, where you have 80 centimeters here, so you have about 30, 40 square meter for the sleeping room, and then a bigger room for the living. Or you can also do three rooms if you need it. So it's also possible to change this maybe in 10 years or 50 years, or you have a child, and when the child is moving out, you can go back to the old version. So it's also possible to have optimized layout of the floor plans, but also flexibility. So this is then the view from the side of the Sonnenpark. This one is from the west then. Here we have some kind of green wall. And this is then at the night time together with Rüdiger Leiners, his part. So, next project is then in Hamburg, which is so new that we just started the construction work last week. First of all, in Hamburg we have a very bad ground, we have very bad earth, so we have to stick in 700 Pfähle, so that we need now 2 or 3 months, and after the winter we can start then really with the construction work. So what was the aim there? We like to focus on diverse flat, really, because diverse means subsidized flats, which are subsidized by the city of Hamburg. Then low-priced flat, which are not so low-priced as subsidized, and free financed, which are then the expensive one. And so we don't have only subsidy, we have all together, and they are all together in different locations. So we have also a participation group included, so like in the Sargfabrik, which has about 50 flats of it. We have to integrate shops with 2,000 square meter, and our aim was to make possible the interaction of the tenants on a level, on the upper level, which I will show you next. So where is the location? It's directly at the Karlsbau Park. You know this building? Very famous. It's the Opera House. It's famous because it's, I think, double time more expensive than they expected. So this is the new part of the Hafen City, and now they are trying to do this. This is everything here is not realized, and we are just now starting here with the Lila project. So how did we came to this form? We tried to make a block, but this block was not open, it was not porous enough. Yeah? So we opened it to the north side and also to the south side, because the wind should go through, and otherwise we will have smelling areas in the block. And we were focusing on giving most of the flats good side to the park, because directly in front of them is a very, very good park with a lot of green areas, and yeah, it's very special topic. So you can see here, this is the best location, this is the best location, but also this one, because they have directly sight through the building to the outside. So how it's gonna look like, you can see we are working together with 3 clients, 3 different clients. One client is here, the participation group. This is a client for the free finance, and the little one is an association which is very famous in Hamburg. Sorry, I need some water. So this is the ground floor. You can see here. You can see here the area of the shop area. Here is the kindergarten. Here is gastronomy, Einzelhandel. So we are speaking about 2,000 square meter in the ground floor, and on the upper floor we are trying to connect all the buildings with a single level, and we are calling it the communication level, because if you like to go down, for example, this elevator has its last stop exactly on this area. So you have to go to the 6 meter, and then you can go, or you can enter your house. That means that you will meet all the people. So this is a lively space, and this is also a green area which we like to enhance with some cherry trees and so on. So you can see here we have 7 stories up and 1 big story for the shops, and that's how it's going to look like. It's a very sculptural building, because it's divided in these 3 parts, and we have a planning duration of about 2 years, and it looks now I would say the same as on this rendering. We have also to deal with the city of Hamburg, because we have a black brick, and you have to understand, bricks are so special in Hamburg, because that's what they are talking about years by years. So if the brick has a little difference, if it's a little bit lila, if it's a little bit red, if it's a bit blue, it's metallic, it's shiny, is it rough, is it not? Yeah, you can discuss for years only the brick, yeah? And we have to discuss it with the city of Hamburg, because they are ruling this. Johann Walter is the big chief there, and at the end he was agreeing not to exactly this color, but it's a gray one with a little bit of brown touch. So yeah, 2 years of work. And I would say about 20 muster, also samples. So that's in the night time then. In the meantime, they have built up here the U-Bahn, which is now ready. So we are directly neighbor of the U-Bahn metro station, and that's the point of view when you're going on this upper level, on this communication level. So we also included a Gemeinschaftsraum here, common room, which is orientated into this area here. so we hope that the people will join together. We don't know if it works in Hamburg because people are different there, but we are giving them the opportunity. So they have then maybe 50 years or 100 years to enjoy this or not. So what is the summary of all this project which I have shown you? We are focusing on a human being. We are focusing on a man, and we are focusing on the people. Yeah, that's very because that's the user then at the end. We try to support community in every way how it's possible. We also support communication. By the way, not with the sledgehammer. Always by the way. So one of the best communication points is, for example, the roof garden of the Sargfabrik, because on a normal day everybody goes up there. They have to water their plants, so they are meeting each other and they are talking about the last chats, which are interesting. So we are focusing also on diversity and on density. We are not afraid of density. It's always a question or a matter of how to handle it. We like to make the lowest energy consumption that it's possible, and at the end it should lead to fair rents, and that's possible with the city of Vienna. And because they have the subsidy system, and I think that's in Europe. There are not so many countries who have this for the last 100 years. So I have now some projects for working, but I think it's too late, so I will quit the working project and go directly to the urban planning project. So you can join some pictures. But at the end it will last too long, and I think my voice is not so good today. I have some problems with a cold. So also with participation process. This is one of our favorite projects which we have done for a bank. It's the Volksbank, the headquarters of Volksbank in Salzburg. A very sculptural building with a big head that we have there. Yeah, with a lot of. We have also done the interior design of this project. Also, this kind of looking through that everybody can remark the other ones. This is then the chief level, of course. They have done, okay, you can see here, there is a put for, golf. Yeah, you can try your golf ball here. That's for the big boss, for the biggest boss. So then we have an installation with this camera, with this Fernrohr, I don't know the word, but you can see the whole Salzburg mountain there. This is then the Sitzungszimmer, the meeting room. Yeah, we have some special guests there. Yeah, on every our project, when we are taking picture, we try to involve some funny situation. This is where the people are eating. They have a big, good, established kitchen there. So this is the Museum of Money. The Museum of Money is nothing else that the people can sit down. Mostly of them are pupils and from the school, and they're explaining the money and how it's come to money. So this is one of our best garage, because you can see this is a abgehängte Decke, so Gipsenplaster. Normally we don't have something like that, but they told us for the clients they like to have this, and it looks very good. So now about urban planning. Urban planning is something which when you're thinking architecture not only for the site and only for your building, then it leads very easily to urban planning. And that was we were inviting to Almere, because in Almere in Holland, MVRDV has done this proposal for a big new city. And this big new city follows some rules. Every site, which is very different, has its own rule. For example, this one, let's say 12-story, balconies are allowed. This one, 5 stories, balconies are not allowed. No, or this one here, you have to implement a garden in front of it. So every site has its own regulation. So the book of the regulation was about 300-400 pages, and they invited then 30 architects from all over the world, and we got this one here, which was a little bit small, about 1,000 square meter, and this one here, which is about 5,000 square meter. And so we did the complete development. We went to Holland. We dealt with all the consulants that you have, with fire protection, with static, and so on. Yeah, and we did a project which was then completely ready for go to building, and that was then 2008. And you know what happened then? All the bank were going bankrupt in 2008, and this whole project was quitted completely. So 200,000 square meters of flats are not going into construction, because our client was not completely bankrupt, but it was the Wohngestat, and they had quite big problems until today, and we don't know when we will be going forward with this project. So it's on hold. Maybe it will come in 5 years. We hope so. We don't know. But it was, I try to say to you, it's always good to have a diverse urban planning, a diverse situation. So not monoculture. It's better to implement some diversity on every point. So the next thing is then the Dragoner Areal in Berlin. It's an old Kaserne-Gebäude from the military, and it's this part here. It's a big landscape, about 50,000 square meter, and the aim was to get more than 100,000 square meter. That was the wish of the investor, and of course we don't have any problems with density. We told them it's possible, we do it. So what have we done? We demolished some of the old buildings, which are very bad, in a very bad situation, and what was then open, we tried to make new buildings there. First of all, we did something like a Baufeld, a quarter block, and some streets. The streets are, mostly of them are for pedestrians. Only some of them are in one single single street. It's possible to go through, but only to make a delivery, not for every time. So then we did some green areas, some parks, which we were locating behind this old factory. This old factory we are using as a kindergarten. It's very nice brick building, and here is a big garden together with the Amtshaus of Berlin. So these are then the zones in the first floor, not in the first floor, in the ground floor, where we like to have some shops. We like to have some Gewerbe. And then we make some kind of algorithm, because in Berlin it's necessary that you have enough light for every flat. And every time when we have a big building, behind we have a small one which will make the light then for the next building. So at the end it's looking very complex, yeah, because every flat has to have enough light, and it's like a dense city, like maybe a rental city, and that's what it could be then at the end. So everybody will get a site, and the site will have then other architects, so they will use another form, another speak, architectural grammar, and this could be then, this is the kindergarten, so here is the park. This could be also a higher building, yeah, when you have enough space, it's, I think it's possible. Yeah, it was a very nice rendering. At the end, the investor broke down, and now they don't even know what to do with the site. We were working on it, we are in touch with the people there, but we don't know how it's gonna forward or what will happen in the next days. So then, after this, we got a lot of cooperative planning. Cooperative planning means that we are sitting together with a lot of consultants and experts, expert from landscape, expert from traffic, noise, together with the people, the neighbors, with the city of Vienna. So usually we have about 10 or 15 people who are discussing then the urban planning of a big project, let's say about 300 units up. And this, for example, was one of these projects. It's the Jokergasse. Here we have a street which have very heavy traffic. On this side we have a railway, and so on two-sided we have loud noise that leads to this kind of shield which is protecting the area which is behind. So behind this area and also the flats which are going to the inner courtyard are very silent then. So that's a point when you have this when you have a cooperative planning, then it's possible that you can do something like that. That every flat had also the responsibility for the overall design. So here you can see the old structure, which is some kind of rows, which we were acting or reacting on it, also like here. And so we were able to plan here about more than 300 flats, 350 flats, together with Hermann Valentini. Here you can see the concept. We have some place, we have a park, and we have some green areas which are going right in between the buildings. Here you can see then, this is the urban planning situation. Then we have a kind of modulation of the height, that it's not on the same level. We try to involve then green areas on the roof, and all together leads then to a very different planning of the whole situation, which you can see here. Yeah, from every side. So then we have the cooperative planning of the Seestadt Aspern. In Aspern we developed in 3 years, not we, together with the architects, we developed 1,500 flats in 3 years. Before there was nothing, there was only Pampa and nothing else. And so we were sitting together. This is our client. This is our next client. This is one of the architects, Superblock, also architect, landscape planner. And on this side, what you cannot see, was Toward. Yeah, Toward was the overall designer, the master plan of Aspern. and we have to discuss with him our proposal that we have. And sometimes it leads to heavy discussion, and yeah. So we also our Baufeld is this one here. This is our block. This was the next block, and also this one is our block. And so we could react together with our neighbors. And that's quite interesting when you're developing a city, that you can react now with your neighbor. That could lead to a special balance of good places. So, yeah, most of this we discuss on the with a model, yeah, or also plans, of course. And you can see here now it's developing further. It looking very different. Oops, not so fast. So here we are. This is our neighbor, and what you can see here is BKK. They did a very famous project. It's very dense. Maybe we can invite them for next time, because they're really interesting architects. And our aim was to do this on an upper level. That's the next point then. And to make some kind of Stadtville. And this was then the last project which we were presenting to the city of Vienna, because they also have worked with a jury to control our work then, what we have done together with 30 architects. So this was a big cooperative planning with a lot of architects. So everybody was very happy then about the success. This is the jury, and all the others are so happy that it's done. So we did then the renderings for our block. This is from Be Good. This is also Be Good. This is our part. So it's also very diverse in the block. There are 2 architects in one block. These are our part of the project. So that's like it's now. It's just a picture that I took with my hand camera, because we just finished the project. We are waiting for better pictures, but you can see that it's very, even the cost of this project were down under all the others. So here we're speaking of about 1,280 euros per square meter. And if you're planning good and in good collaboration with the construction company, then it's possible. But of course we have to discuss everything, and if something is costing 500 euros less, they came to us asking, can we do the 500 euros, can we save 500 euros? So at the end it's very similar to the renderings. So one of our latest project or proposal for a city is then in Baden and Müritz. It's in Germany. A very small community. I think the village is about 20,000 people are living there, and we try to make on this area a new development with I think 50 flats. So first of all we did a raster, and then we were cutting something away that the blocks could have more light into it. Then we turned them, and for every villa we did this kind of side parameter, what you can see. Then we lowered down the roof, and at the end, where's the here it is, the rendering. At the end there were 4 villas which are standing together. Each of them turned so exactly that everybody has the best location what it's possible. Of course, it's not possible on every side to do it. Okay. I don't know what it means, but it's turning off. Okay, in 10 minutes. That's quite unfair.
I guess we can reboot and continue.
No, it's the system, that's clear. So that's how it's going to look like, but I think I'm quite at the end. Yeah, we have, sometimes I have some projects which last for 2 or 3 days, like this trident. In New York, we found a place for this trident in Manhattan, directly at the Times Square behind, because there are so low buildings there, you have to demolish it and to build up something new. That was our idea. What's now? Goodbye. So I think now I have time to drink the water.
Let's take a break for 2 minutes. I will reboot it and we will continue. Because the zookeeper cannot just switch over and go to the school. School is here for us.
Ty baráky, tak si budou ty věci na tom mendla. Tak přemysli do knížky a ty tady. Ano. Když to nebyla tam mendla, jednání. Tak krásně potom dostaneš tam do toho náměstí, tam do té baziliky, tak musíš dostaneš něco. Protože když jakoby se udělat něco zavřel, tam to místo jakoby zatím nedělám, když jsem to počíná, tak to vlastně jako z ničemu, ale to neznám. A my teď tam protáhneš.
My mistake, I forgot to introduce you Janica Šipulová.
To bylo jako zajímavé, akorát to bylo strašně malé.
Right now, collaborator with BKK-3, and she started here at our university, and afterwards she continued in Vienna. She's more Viennese than Czech.
She influenced a lot of the project that you have seen, like Chocolate, Coca-Cola, what else?
We just counted in the car that now we are doing 1,000 flats.
Yeah, now we are planning.
I can flats.
Maybe one stupid question, and
Yeah.
Students will continue with clever one. So your architecture is full of colors and full of really sculpture impact and interesting shapes. Well, and why do you wear black? You are like other architects, so your buildings are completely different than you compare to Berlin or Hamburg architecture.
I'm not sure that the black building is the best design. We have black buildings. The last one is black, but it's not our standard. Yeah. For example, if you're thinking about
orange and
the orange, we have always a story. Yeah? For example, the orange of the Sargfabrik is orange because the old bricks that we had from the Sargfabrik were in between orange and red. And so we took one of the color of the bricks, and this was then the color for the whole Symphony. So it has a story for, and then of course it's a participation process. We asked the people what they like. So we had one color, it was like a beige, yeah. One color was the orange, and one color was the light blue. And overall, they decided, I think, 52% were for the orange voting, and the rest is then for the other colors. So yeah, it's not our fault.
Maybe you have invented a Baukünstlerkollektiv system, or it was maybe in 80s or 60s, because last year our friends wrote in this idea from Germany, this Baukünstlerkollektiv from Berlin and so on.
Yeah,
it was mid 90s. Maybe it was the first Baukünstlerkollektiv project.
It's one of the first big projects of the Baugruppen. The other one was Kraftwerk in Switzerland. Yeah. Yeah, and then it came to Germany, and now they're doing a lot of projects in Berlin and in Hamburg. That's the overhaul Austria 10 times or 100 times. So they are doing a lot with this Baugruppen. Yeah, okay. No, that's
No, it will be from the beginning.
yes. Like,
It's just
Is it this one? From, is it this one? Good. So, another 5 minutes, then we can finish. So, we did this skyscraper as a kind of advertising for us in 2 days or 3 days. It's so easy to design a skyscraper because you have a big volume, and then you can shape it to do some fingers. You're turning your fingers so that you can see in between these fingers, and at the end it leads to this form. And the interesting thing is when you're going around this form, on every side you have really big difference of shape and sculpture. And this was then in the life. Here they are, which are then, let's say, a little bit different to the normal shape of the skyscrapers there. So then we have some byty as a competition. This was a competition we didn't won. All of them we didn't won. It's for a small church, which was then done by a colleague of us. This was for the Interspar shape. This is a project that we have won in 2008, and you know what happened in 2008? The bank goes bankrupt, and we won the first prize, but we cannot do this. So maybe in some few years it's possible, but they don't have the money now. So this was the shape for an office building. This was also a competition for a medicine center in the 22 district. This is a competition in Hanover. In Germany, all the buildings have to be out of bricks. But on the other hand, we like bricks. Yeah? I would like to do this in Vienna, but in Vienna it's too expensive to do this. So that was the reason why we did an office in Hamburg, so we can work now with bricks. Yeah, at the end, somebody won this project, which was really bad, I have to say. You can look then in the newspaper. This was a competition in Vienna. It's not not a skyscraper, but a little bit higher building. This is in Munich. Students, flats. There were flats. Also on the street level. Janica did this part. So, what does it mean to work with BKK? BKK does also mean to have some events. Today we are doing Becher nights, sometimes we are doing party, but a long time ago. Janica is always telling we should do a party now, next time. But we are also collaborating with our construction sites. For example, this was an installation that we did together with an artist. So there is a sentence of Wittgenstein, and every day we put a new Buchstabe there, a new letter there. And the letters are out of 20 centimeter styropor, so it means with the styro cutter to work for 5 or 6 hours to do one letter for the whole building, for the whole facade. For example, the E, 8 hours, because there are so many E's in German. E. We started with E, and at the end, the people were standing there and trying to solve the sentence. What could it be? What could it happen? And at the end, it was then clear. It was an invitation for a theater group that was working in our space, and this theater group works with a lot of body work, and they were naked. So this was all in between the time when there were normal construction works there, construction worker, and then we have, first of all, we have a lot of discussion with Muslimic people, because they don't like to see a woman which is naked. So they were then covered, the actors, and they only throw away the clothes then at the theater, which was then in the night time at 20 o'clock. So we have to solve this problem when they are forcing together, which was quite interesting. And then we started with the theater work, and as you can see, this is a really construction site. We have to take care about the people who are going through, that they get not insured. But it was a quite good installation, and we've done a lot of these things with cooperating with a lot of artists, and I cannot show you everything. This is the last thing I'd like to show you. This is a project which we're doing now in Carinthia. It's a small house. It's a single-family house, and the problem with a single-family house is that it is the energy consumption. So if you are trying to get the energy plus or zero energy house, you have to do a lot. And that's what I like to show you, how it's going to work. This is the house, and you have salt pipes in the earth. Today we are working more with air because it's cheaper. You need a heat pump, which is rising up the temperature. Then you need solar thermal panels for the heating, for the warm water in the summertime. And photovoltaic, because with the photovoltaic elements you can power the heat pump. So if you have a system like this, you're independent from any other system, and this is how it's gonna look like. Not exactly the same. We have changed a little bit, but not so much. It's up on the upper floor is the living unit. So there are 2 rooms behind here, and this is the living unit. Down is the technical area and some office area. This is a looking into the inside then, it has a very good panorama because there are the mountains which are lying behind, so somebody called it the panorama machine. Yeah, and that's how it's going to look like now. It's under construction. We hope to end it in 1 year. We hope so. And yeah, that is my last project, which I would like to introduce to you. And I think we're now at the end, really. If you have any question, you can join me later or now. Yeah, you can ask me everything. Thank you very much. Cheaper than an investor, you have to get a site, yeah, that's true. I don't know the price of the site or the site cost in the Czech Republic, but if you're going a little bit out of the city or in a periphery of Bonn, I think you will be there. What's the price of 1 square meter of land?
It depends if it's in the city center or
nearby. What's in the center? In the center of Vienna, we have to pay for a square meter about 1,500 to 2,000 euro a square meter of area which you can build up. And in the outer region, I would say 700 to 800 euros. And when you you have to discuss about the cost, you have to discuss with the client, so many things. At the end, the construction company is coming to you. I would like to make this in another way, which is cheaper. So you have, I think, 500,000 topics to solve, and maybe it's not like this that you can sit back and I've done my work. They are influencing until the last second of the of the project. Yeah. So it's not, the project is not done after the Polier plan. Then you have to go to the Baustelle, to the site, to the construction site, and discuss every topic and with the company. But I think this, you can see this quality then. Yeah, all the architects are investing a lot of the money and power into these projects. Here, do you have any question? I told you too much.
In which program are you working?
I got, not me, but
So we will go across the river and have a beer, or if you want to join us, or you have other questions.
you know where we are. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really close.
Yeah.
You may see it from outside. It's really 50 meters. So you have shown us that Vienna and also Hamburg built out of a city with a client in our country. So there are just private clients and private investors. Yeah. We are trying to change it. Or one of our friends, she has received the AAD stipendium in Berlin, so she also introduced to Czech Republic this Baukünstlerkollektiv idea, and hopefully they will start with Marek Kopec and my schoolmate. We will try to build one house in Prague next year.
Yeah, that's a good idea.